Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is lecture number 1 for soil science course. So in this lecture we will study the introduction of soil science. Especially we will study definition of earth, geology and soil science. But before going to the definitions, let's get introduction of our solar system. So in our solar system we have 9 planets and sun and the moon. So among these 9 planets we have Earth, and this planet Earth is located at number third in sequence. So it is little bit away from the sun at number third, and due to this distance from the sun it has a special kind of environment, climate, with respect to the availability of the oxygen and water, and this climate make an opportunity for the life to exist on this planet. Otherwise, on rest of the planets, existence of life is not possible, but maybe possible. The discoveries are ongoing regarding that. So there may be certain chances of life on the Mars also, but there are little possibility on the Uranus, on the Venus planet. So the Earth is the only planet where life can exist. So life means the existence of the animals and existence of the plants. Okay. So let's move forward. We have the Earth system, and in the Earth system we have different components with the support from the sun in the form of the sunlight. We have here the land with biodiversity, plants and animals, and also we have the atmosphere that is composed of different gases, and we have the ocean as a source of water, the water body. Then we have the cryosphere or the ice in the form of the glaciers. So all these components together make the possibility of life on the earth. So in terms of the geology, geology is the study of the earth that is related with the soil science, but soil science study of the soil is more specific to the uppermost thin layer of the land or the earth. Okay. So if we further study the earth in detail, so here we have the map of the globe, and in the earth we have different layers. The uppermost layer is called the crust, that is followed by the layer of the mantle. Then there is a layer of outer core, and then there is a inner core. So all these 4 layers have different depth in terms of the measurement in kilometers. We have different depths. So if we further study, there is a total diameter of the earth okay, that is 6,378 kilometer. Okay, so in this diameter we have these different layers. The uppermost layer is the crust, that is about 0 to 100 kilometer thick, and then there is a layer of mantle that is up to 2,900 kilometer, followed by an outer core layer that is up to the depth of the 5,100 kilometer, and then there is a last layer of inner core that may make the total diameter of the earth, that is 6,378 kilometer. So the uppermost layer, including the crust and uppermost solid part of the mantle, is called the lithosphere. So if we can define the lithosphere, that is composed of the crust and uppermost solid part of the mantle. So these are the part of the earth over here. So earth is one of the planets of the solar system. It is a dynamic, that is always constantly changing planets. Many changes are being take place at the same time. So earth crust is broken into many pieces which are called the plates. So we can say that the earth is made up of many plates. Okay. So these plates are in constant motion, means they are dynamic, they are moving, and sometimes they cause the earthquakes due to their movement, and they during their movement they create mountains. They also come source of volcanism, the production of new crust, and the destruction of the old one. So these transformational changes take place all the times. So there are three kinds of plate boundaries with respect to their movements. So the number one is the conversion boundary, where two plates collide to form mountains or a subduction zone. So in this conversion process, the plates of the earth, they slide one and with one another and creates different mountains and subduction zones. Means one plate goes under the other one. Then there is a diversion boundary where the plates are moving in opposite directions. They move opposite directions and create big holes. Okay. And the third one is transformation boundary, where two plates are sliding past each other and cause the earthquake. Okay. So these are the different kind of movements of earth plates. So one and other related with the movement of the earth plates, we know already that there on the earth we have about 7 continents, piece of the lands, and earlier these 7 pieces of lands were uh, present as a united as a one piece, but slowly these continents uh, flow or move away from each other. So when these 7 continents were together, they are called the Pangaea. We collectively translate the Pangaea, but when they move away from each other and they form different continents. So the movement of these continents is called the continental drift. This is very slow movement, and there is also a assumption that these once there will be a time when these continents will again unite, will again come together and will become a single piece of earth. Okay, so the soil terminology, the word soil is derived from Latin word called solum, and the definition of the soil is, we can define the soil in such a way that it is a natural body that is located at the interface between the atmosphere, lithosphere, and biosphere. So, consisting of layers of unconsolidated mineral and are organic constituents of variable thickness, which have been subjected to and influenced by genetic and environmental factors. So this is a big definition of a soil. So it is a natural body that exists at the junction of atmosphere, lithosphere, and biosphere. Lithosphere, I already told you that uh, this is composed of crust and the uppermost layer or uppermost part of the mantle, that makes the lithosphere, and soil is the thin layer of this lithosphere or the crust. So lithosphere, biosphere includes the biota, plants and animals, and these three components they together interact with each other and they make the soil. So the soil is consists of many different layers on consolidated minerals. So the main part of the soil are the minerals that are the solid part, uh, which the minerals which are formed from different rocks. Unconsolidated means these soil is composed of the particles or the pieces which are not united with each other. They are separate. They have separate identity. Once they are dry, they can be separated easily. Sometimes, somewhere there is organic matter constituents depending on the location of soil uh, with variable thickness. So soil have different layers, and these layers have different thickness, different depth, and it depends on the environmental and genetic factors. How long these environmental factors have affected the soil, that makes the soil immature and mature. So the soil is a mixture of rock, organic materials, living organisms, air, and water. So these are the very important constituents of the soil, especially the rock particles, organic matter that is produced from the plants and dead bodies of the animals, and also there are living organisms inside the soil. They also make a part of the soil, and further air and water also make the soil more uh, uh, important for the growth of the plants. So all these components of the soil together support the plant growth on Earth's surface. So soil exists where the lithosphere, atmosphere, hydrosphere, and biosphere interact or meet together. So if we study more in depth, all these five components, they interact with each other. Like pedosphere is actually the lithos is the soil part of the land is called the pedosphere, and this pedosphere interact with the atmosphere in terms of the gases exchange. So the gases released from the pedosphere enter into the atmosphere and cause atmospheric changes. Similarly, the solar energy or solar light is coming from the atmosphere to the pedosphere, from the atmosphere to the land. Okay, so this is a give and take interaction. Similarly, pedosphere interact with the lithosphere, means the layer of the soil on the land interact with the lithosphere. Lithosphere nutrients from the pedosphere are leached down and become part of the lithosphere or the mantle. Okay. Similarly, the soil formation is take place from the lithosphere. Due to the weathering of the lithosphere, pedosphere is formed or soil is formed. So this is was the interaction between the pedosphere and lithosphere. Similarly, interaction between the pedosphere and hydrosphere. Pedosphere provides the water to the hydrosphere. Hydrosphere, we have the oceans with rivers, and evaporation take place from the soil uh, in the form of the vapors become ultimately the part of the hydrosphere. Vapors become the clouds, and then there is a rain, and that rain will add up to the ocean water. Okay. Similarly, hydrosphere provide this water to the pedosphere. We get water through irrigation from the hydrosphere. Likewise, there is an interaction between the pedosphere and biosphere. Biosphere is composed of the plants and animals which exist on the surface of the soil. And these biosphere, these plants and animals, they get nutrition or food from the pedosphere. The plants grown on the surface of the earth, on the surface of the soil, uh, become source of food for the biosphere. Similarly, biosphere plants and animals once dead become part of the pedosphere. So soil flora and fauna also have a big portion in the soil or in the pedosphere. Similar interactions exist between the biosphere and atmosphere, where process of photosynthesis and respiration take place. Through the process, biospheres, they require the solar radiation from the atmosphere for photosynthesis and energy. Similarly, biospheres excrete the carbon dioxide that become and also uh, release the vapors from the surface of the plants uh, through the transpiration process. These vapors become part of the atmosphere, and our atmosphere provide the water to the hydrosphere through the rainfall, through dew, snowfall. Similarly, hydrosphere vapors from the hydrosphere become part of the atmosphere, and then the hydrosphere provide the groundwater recharge to the lithosphere. The water present in the outer core is recharged from the hydrosphere through the rainfall, and lithosphere provide the runoff and seepage to the hydrosphere. Okay. So in this way, lithosphere add up the water to the hydrosphere. So in both ways, this is the exchange of the water between the lithosphere and hydrosphere. Similarly, lithosphere also interact with the biosphere. Biosphere contribute through the rock weathering. Due to the weathering of the lithosphere, pedosphere is formed. So biosphere interact with the lithosphere and convert this lithosphere into pedosphere. So similarly, lithosphere also provide the elements or nutrients to the biosphere where the plants are grown. The plants require the nutrients. So these nutrients are provided from the soil and also from the lithosphere through the absorption with the roots. So there is another diagram that also clarify the interactions between these components. We have the atmosphere, biosphere, hydrosphere and lithosphere, and in between these four components there is the soil or pedosphere. So these interact with the pedosphere and make it more functional or make it more valuable. So there are different factors which are mentioned here. Like in atmosphere we have different gases like carbon dioxide, oxygen, nitrogen. Okay. And in biosphere we have plants, animals, microbes and their products and remains. In hydrosphere we have the water, uh, dissolved substances, and in lithosphere we have the minerals, rocks, sediments. So the atmosphere interact with the pedosphere in the form of the soil air, add up the air into the soil and make the soil more aerated. Similarly, biosphere have interaction in terms of the organic matter and biomass. Okay. So biomass is produced on the surface of the soil and it is also added into the soil. Similarly, hydrosphere it has interaction in terms of the soil water with the pedosphere, and lithosphere have interaction with the pedosphere in terms of the solid soil particles. Okay. So this is the interaction between different components of the in the solar system, in the earth system. Okay. So soil is three-dimensional body which supports plant establishment and growth. It is a natural and dynamic medium that provide nutrients and encourage to the plants and support its growth till the maturity of the plants or the crops. So for a farmer, soil refers to the cultivated top layer. So farmer is concerned with the top layer of the soil where he plough the land or prepare the soil for the cultivation of the crops. Surface only, that is maybe up to the 15 to 18 centimeter of the plough depth, but sometimes it goes up to 30 centimeter, but usually the farmer plough up to 18 centimeter with different cultivators. So soils widely vary in their characteristics and properties uh, because different factors involved in the formation of the soil. One is that the soil has a genetic property that may be as it is originated from its parent material. So parent material is the rock, different rock types, and rock types vary from place to place. Similarly, other factors like the climatic factors and biotic factors also affect the soil, and intensity of these factors vary from place to place. So that's why the soil is widely vary from place to place and also from time to time. So soil has variation in time, temporal variations and also the spatial variations. Okay. So if we study the functions of the soil, so soil have many different functions, but the important four functions are here. Number one, the soil provide the place or space and encourage for the plant growth and development. So it provide a home or house for the plants where plants can be grown, and also provide this uh, support as the encourage or make the plants to stand tightly on the surface of the soil and grow well and till its maturity. Further, the soil act as a medium for air and water circulation. So air and water also find space inside the soil, and air make the soil more aerated, and water contents are also present in the soil, and soil act as an absorber of water. Due to the absorption characteristics of the soil, soil can absorb water. You may observe that when there is a heavy rainfall and there is water on the surface of the soil, after 1 or 2 hours you can see all the rainwater has been absorbed by the soil. Okay, so soil has capacity to absorb this water. Soil has the space inside that can hold the water. Similarly, soil also act as a reservoir for water and nutrients. So it is a storage of water and nutrients. Soil act as a storage where we can keep the water and we can keep the nutrients stored, and we can utilize those that water and nutrients later. Like you can observe that when we supply the fertilizer to the soil and we grow different crops and the plants over there, so these crops and plants they slowly absorb those nutrients and water till their maturity. Okay, so it help us to reduce the number of times we supply the nutrients and water. Okay, otherwise we have to supply nutrients on daily basis, but as the soil store the water and nutrients inside, so we supply once and for many days. Similarly, the another function of the soil is the space for the beneficial microorganisms. So not only the macroorganism, but many microorganisms also exist inside the soil. So soil act as a home for these organisms. Many bacteria, many fungi, algae, they live inside the soil and make the soil a living body. Okay. So the soil also serve as a home or house for the organisms. Then the soil also has different phases. They have different nature, and they have different soil has different forms. So soil sometimes we can observe that the soil is in a solid form. soil in liquid form and gaseous forms. It has all these three different components. So because this is a complex system that is made up of solid, liquid and gaseous phases or materials. So soil is three phase or polyphasic system comprising in different proportions. So at any place, if we deeply study the soil, we can find the solid phase over there, means solid phase, that we have the clay, sand, silt and clay over there, uh, means the mineral portion of the soil. Particles, solid particles of the soil is there. Then we can also observe the liquid phase. Some empty spaces inside the soils are occupied by the water, so that is the liquid phase, and some pore spaces are occupied by the air, that is the gaseous phase. So for a soil to be more productive, all these three components are very essential in proper proportions. So normally proportion of a good soil, that for agricultural purpose there should be 50% solid portion, solid particles, 25% liquid and 25% gaseous, but this may vary from soil to soil. This is the ideal condition that is most suitable for agricultural purpose, but this exists very existence of this ideal proportion is very difficult at any place. In some occasions, liquid or gaseous phase may be absent. So this liquid and gaseous phase uh, change from place to place and from time to time. For example, in waterlogged soil, if we provide the more water in terms of the irrigation to the soil, so all these pore spaces in the inside the soil are occupied with the water, and air will be removed. So air is not present in the waterlogged soil. Similarly, in desert, dry land, dry sandy soils, water is not present, only the air is present. It means if the soil is dry, then water contents are less, and if soil is wet, then the air portion is less. So for the ideal conditions for good plant growth, we need aerial portion, we need the liquid portions in a proper ratio. Okay, so the components of the soil, if we study, soil consists of four major components, and this include the mineral matter, organic matter, water and air. And in graphical terms, you can observe here there is about 45% mineral matter and 5% organic matter. So mineral matter and organic matter, they together make the 50% of the total proportion solid phase. Similarly, 25% air and 25% water, they make the 50% of the pore space. So this is the ideal uh, nature or ideal condition of the soil. So physically, soil consists of stones, large pebbles, dead plant twigs, roots, leaves, and other parts of the plant, fine sand, silt, clay, and humus. These materials is derived from the decomposition of organic matters. So if we visit any place or any location, and if we study the soil, then we can find stones and pebbles over there, but these big structures are the particles, they are not part of the soil actually. So part of the soil is that should have the size less than 2 millimeter. Okay, that comes under the definition of the soil. So sand, silt, clay, and organic matter that is very small in pieces, that comes the part of the soil. Otherwise, big leaves and twigs are not part of the soil. So it was the 2 days lecture, and see you in the next class. Thank you.